In this video, I'm going to be teaching you how do you preserve your vegetables when you're traveling on the road without refrigeration. How do you do that? Well, I'm going to show you a real simple way that's not only that can preserve your vegetables, but it's also good for your health. That's coming up right now. Hey, welcome saints to Disciple Disciplines. In this show we talk about how to become a disciplined Christian to bear fruit for Jesus Christ. So in this show I'm going to be teaching you how to preserve your food when you're traveling, if you're doing ministry, or if you become homeless like I did for a while, like I am currently. I'm going to be teaching you how do you preserve your vegetables. Well, a real simple way is to ferment them. Now, to ferment your vegetables is quite simple. All you need is just a glass jar with an ordinary lid on it. Okay? And all we're going to do, we're going to cut up some vegetables. Now, you can cut up anything you want to. I just got some vegetables that's available. I choose to buy organic vegetables simply because I prefer the health benefit from them. So I always go organic when I can get it. So with the thing with organic, you can only get what's in season. So just get what's in season, get what's organic, and we're going to cut them up into small bits and put them in this jar, and then I'm going to fill the jar with water, with salt in it, salt water. And the salt water will actually ferment the vegetables over time. I'll let this sit for about 5 to 10 days, which then it'll be ready to eat. And when it's ready, it has a quite vinegary kind of taste to it. But it's really, really nice, and it's really good for you. I mean, it's beneficial gut bacteria, which is essential when you're traveling a lot and just to stay in good health. Amen? So, let's get into it. So all we got to do, I just got some cucumbers here. Let's cut up some cucumbers. Don't cut them too thick, because the thicker they are, the longer it will take to ferment. So you want to cut them not too small, but not too large, you know what I mean? Just cut them into cubes, something like that, straight in the jar. Also, be sure to wash your hands before you put your hands in the food, because this is going to ferment, and you don't want it to ferment with any kind of bad bacteria in there off your hands. So give your hands a good clean before you. It's an ideal way to do also is have a glass cutting board, but mine disappeared somewhere, so I've got to use an alternative. So we've got some cucumbers, mushrooms, same thing, just chop them up, dice them up, and chuck them in the pot. As I said, I usually put beans in here, broccoli, kale, all kinds of things, whatever's available. Beetroot is really good. Just chuck it in there, and this will last for weeks and weeks and weeks. And the great thing about it is when you use it up, you can refill it again using the same brine. I go through the same brine twice, so I'll get all my food out of this. I'll fill this right up to the top, fill it for the brine. Then when it's fermented, I'll then eat all that, and then refill it again with fresh vegetables. So I get twice as much out of it, which is really beneficial. So you get the idea. Here I've got some bit of bok choy that I bought this morning from the local store. Again, organic, get organic food. With these things you can just break them up like that, chuck it in. Doesn't have to be perfect size or anything like that, just chuck it in. It's bite size, something that you like. Okay, you get the idea. Just chuck it in like that. Also got some kale, which is already pre-chopped. Chuck it in there as well. Kale is really good for you, actually. I like to put a lot of kale in there because it's just good. It's just really good food, you know. You know, one thing is important about being a disciple. It's not just about healing the sick and casting out demons and preaching the gospel with people. It's also about living a divine life for health as well, living in divine health. Being healthy is important, because if you're not healthy, if you're weak and you're sick, then you're not going to be as sufficient as a minister of the gospel, correct? You're going to be tired, you're going to be lethargic, you're not going to have any sort of desire to go out there and minister to people. So it's important to be healthy. Also got some beetroot here. I really like beetroot. You know, I heard recently that the Australian athletes in the Olympics were drinking beetroot juice, and they discovered why they were doing that is because it gave them a lot of energy. So beetroot is really, really good. So have a lot of beetroot in your diet. Chuck that in there like that. I like beetroot, so I'll put a fair bit in. Just dice him up. Chuck him in. Also I've got some cauliflower. I usually get broccoli, but like I said, if you can't get it, then get some other alternative. Just get what they got. Just, you know, just turn it up with your hands like that. Chuck it in. Don't have to be neat about it, just chuck it in. And this, like I said, this will ferment in this heat up here where I am in North Queensland, almost in the summertime now. It's getting quite warm, so this will ferment pretty quick. And the good thing about it is that you don't need refrigeration, which is perfect if you're on the road or if you don't have a refrigerator. You can keep your vegetables for weeks and weeks and weeks, and it's really, really cool. What else have we got here? Some zucchini. Zucchini's really good also. Chuck it in there again. Just dice him up. What I'll do now, I'll put that aside. Put that aside for a moment. And I'm going to make up the brine. What have we got here? Some filtered water. This is the jug I bought from the local store with a good filter in it. I just use some of the town water. One thing I do not recommend is don't use town water by itself, because it's full of chlorine and fluoride and all kinds of poison. Don't put that in your food. Okay, get a filter, or if you're out near a river that's clean, use that. Or if you've got tanks or something like that, use that. But don't use town water, okay? Because it's full of all kinds of horrible stuff. Really bad. But if you get a filter like I got, real simple, they're about $30 or something, plus the filter. I change the filter maybe every 6 weeks, something like that. So really good. I use this quite a bit. So what we do, salt again, don't use that white table salt. Okay, that poison that's in the shops, don't use that stuff. Okay, that is rubbish. This is natural Celtic salt. You can get this from any health food shops. It's pretty common now. Celtic sea salt. It's just salt, there's nothing else added to it. Hasn't been refined at all. It's just salt as it is, as you get it straight out of the ocean. Very beautiful stuff, lovely stuff. So what we do is get your vegetables. So with the brine, all I'm going to do, it's got this bottle here, you can use a cup, whatever you got, and add some of the salt in there. We're going to put probably about 2 teaspoons of salt, and fill it for the water. Put the lid on him and give it a good shake. Just simple straight salt water. Then I'm going to pour that into the jar. That. And we'll continue that process until that is filled to the top. Now I'm going to continue this with the vegetables, fill the vegetables to the top, then press them down. So we want to get it right down so it's all under the water. Okay, very important. Got a bit of cabbage here as well. And what I'm going to do with this cabbage, I'm going to take some of the leaves off the top, and we're going to use that as like a lid to go over on the inside to cover the vegetables, to make sure that all the vegetables are under the water, so nothing's coming above the water, and that will keep it all down. They're like a weight to hold it down. So I'm going to keep that there. Put that in there like that. If you ever had sauerkraut, then you're gonna like this, because this is what cabbage is. Sauerkraut is just fermented cabbage. So if you like the flavour of sauerkraut, then you'll have an idea of what it will be tasting like at the end of this. At the end, the result will be tasting like similar to that vinegary taste. Okay, push that down in there. Some carrots, try some carrots in there as well. Again, just dice them up. Got a bit of spinach. Spinach is really good as well. I just chuck them in whole. If you want to tear them up, you can just give them a tear. Chuck it in. Squash them all down. Delightful stuff. What else I got? I also like to throw a few spices in there. Bit of ginger, just to add a bit of flavour to it, and a few more nutrients as well. Ginger is really good, and also turmeric. I'll chuck some of that in as well. Bit of garlic as well is good. So get creative with it, you know, anything you want to. But again, I do encourage you to get organic vegetables. They're readily available now, more so than they were many years ago, or even just a few years ago. They're a lot more common now. So, and there's a good reason for that, because more and more people are becoming aware of the importance of eating good organic foods, and people are getting more understanding and knowledge about the facts of chemicals that are used in foods today. So just chuck it in there like that. Turmeric, wonderful stuff. Great thing about this kind of thing, you can carry it with you everywhere. Same with the ginger. You can just stick this in a bag and it will last for months. You can just carry it around wherever you go. Easy to store. That's the great thing about when you're traveling, or if you're on the road, or if you're homeless. You don't have refrigeration and stuff like that. If you're in a hot climate, choose foods like these that are very nutritious and that they're very easy to transport, very easy to carry around. You don't need a refrigerator or anything like that, and they're very good for you. So just chop them up like that. it's fairly strong tasting turmeric, so you don't need a lot of it, but I like it. I'm trying to get as much as I can from it, because I mean the health benefits of turmeric is quite high. As we see now, there are more and more health food companies who are actually incorporating turmeric into their products now. So people are getting a lot more aware of the importance of turmeric in the diet. And I mean all spices actually. I mean the Lord showed me so many years ago about the importance of spices in our food. You know, if you look back in the times of Jesus, we see that spices were held very highly very highly regarded, and people who had spices were very wealthy people, like the kings and so forth, and very rich people. And this nutritionist was saying one time, this Christian nutritionist was saying that spices, herbs and spices, is one of the things that have been unfortunately neglected. This is garlic, by the way, going in there too, going in there as well. About how we have neglected our diet from having good herbs and spices. Now, if you go to some countries, or even back in the times of Jesus, if you sit down for a meal, on the table there will be different spices to choose from to add to your food. That's also true in some of the countries. But in the West, all you see, if you go to a restaurant or someone's home for dinner, the only thing you see on the table is salt and pepper, which basically has nothing in it nutritionally. But he was saying that if you have, for example, an egg, a good food, an egg, and then you add maybe some cumin to that egg, just sprinkle some cumin on it, you've now added 40 ingredients, 40 beneficial ingredients to that egg, just by sprinkling some cumin on it. So it's quite phenomenal. So we need to have herbs and spices in our diet. Okay, I put spices on everything. I've got a big spice rack in the back of my car that I carry everywhere with me, and I add it to my breakfast, my lunch, my dinner, everything. Spices are really, really good for you, really important. Now, speaking of spices, I have some mixed herbs here. Lovely. So it's oregano, it has all kinds of different, there's a mixture of different herbs in it, dried herbs. I just stick them in there like that. And usually I'll add maybe a bit of coriander as well. If you like chili, put a bit of chili in there, whatever you like in there. Now, again, we're going to do some more salt water. A bit more salt. More water. Give them a shake. Right in. And there we go. Make sure you press him all the way down. So you can get the idea while I'm going to the cabbage leaf, because you can see that the vegetables are actually starting to float above the water. We wanted to keep it down under the water. And now I'm going to be using this cabbage leaf, as I said at the beginning. It's going to go in there like that. It's going to act like a little diaphragm, and it's going to hold all that good vegetables under the water there. Because what happens if you don't, if you've got a vegetable coming to the top that's above the water, it will mold. So this will hold it all under the water to prevent that mold. Okay, then we just stick our lid on top. There we go, that's done. And there we go. Now I'll put that back in the car, I'll leave that sit for about 5, 6 or more days, depending on how fast it depending how fast it ferments. In a cooler climate, it'll wait probably about 10 days. But up here in this time of year, it's quite warm. This will ferment pretty quickly. And how do you know it's fermented? It'll change colour. You can see all the different vegetables because you've got the clear water. What will happen is the water will change colour. In this particular case, it'll go like a maroony colour because I've got beetroot in here. And when it's all changed colour to that maroony colour, then I know that it is ready to eat. And I'll just take the lid off and have a taste of it, and you'll taste that it's quite vinegary, and you know it's ready to go. Now the nutritional content of this fermented food is very, very high. It is full of good gut bacteria, or what the experts call probiotics. Probiotics are essential for your good digestion. You know, I studied nutrition for quite a while, and people often will push supplementation and good vitamins and minerals and stuff like that, and that's important, yes. But one thing I know is that, because I had this problem myself, I was suffering from a lot of stomach problems, digestive problems, and I had a very good diet. I was very diligent in my diet. I only ate organic food, and I was taking some supplements every now and then, but there was still something happening. I wasn't having the energy that I was expecting. I was eating good food, and yet I was still feeling lethargic. And as I prayed about it, and the Lord led me to someone to give me a bit of understanding, and it was about the importance of having good gut bacteria. So you can have the best diet on the planet, have all organic food, and be very diligent in that, but if you are not absorbing that nutrition, then you're getting nothing out of it. So you have to absorb it through having good bacteria, and that is what this creates for you. You don't need to buy it, okay? It is very easy. It is 100% natural. The probiotics you buy in the shop, I don't agree with them because a lot of them are synthetic, and a lot of them don't work. But this does work, because since I've been doing this, I have seen remarkable changes in my health. So do it. It's easy, quick and simple. You can see how long it took me. Not too long ago, 15 minutes, it's done. And that would last me quite a while. And I encourage you that when you eat it, when you do have this, to have at least one meal a day with some fermented food on it. Okay, add it to your regular meal, but just get a spoon and just dip it on your meat or whatever you're having. Have it with your meal. I have fresh vegetables as well when I'm eating something, but I also add some fermented vegetables, because I know that the importance of having the good gut bacteria in my system so that I can absorb the nutrition from the food that I'm eating. Make sense? So there it is, saints. So if you want to check out another video in this series, just click or tap the screen right here, and I'll see you, well, I won't see you, but you'll see me in the next video. Until then, God bless you. Amen.